Via Traiana project, started in 2004, is one of the research activities carried out by the Laboratory of Ancient Topography and Photogrammetry at the University of Salento. The reconstruction of the route of the Via Traiana is at the origin of the research project. Investigations were conducted along the entire road axis, which Trajan wanted in 109 AD to connect Benevento with Brindisi with an easier route, as an alternative to that of the Appian Way. The aerotopographical study and the fieldwork covered the main stations affected by the passage of the road: Equum Tuticum, nowadays Sant'Eleuterio, EC, nowadays Troia, Herdonia, nowadays Ordona, Canusium, nowadays Canossa, Rubi, nowadays Ruvo di Puglia, Butentum, nowadays Bitonto, Barium, nowadays Bari, and Ignatia. The Via Traiana project, started in 2004, is part of the research activities carried out by the Laboratory of Ancient Topography and Photogrammetry at the Department of Beni Culturali of University of Salento. The need to approach the problem of the topographical reconstruction of the route of the Via Traiana with an organic, analytical, and systematic approach is at the origin of the research plan. The inquiries have been conducted along all the ancient road axis, wanted by the Emperor Trajan in 109 AD, to connect with an easier route Beneventum and Brundisium, in alternative with the route more internal and tortuous of the Appia road. The aerotopographic study has touched all the principal stations interested by the passage of the road: Equum Tuticum, nowadays Sant'Eleuterio, Iki, nowadays Troia, Herdonia, nowadays Ordona, Canusium, nowadays Canossa, Rubi, nowadays Ruvo di Puglia, Butentum, nowadays Bitonto, Barium, nowadays Bari, and Ignatia. The enterprise, evidently with the remarkable economical engagement, has been realized also with an imposing technical effort in the construction of the roadbed and of its paving, in particular in correspondence of the internal landscapes or in the neighborhoods of the towns, and in the realization of the necessary infrastructures. Different points were built for the overcoming of the principal rivers crossed. The most important remains are still preserved in the river Calore, Ponte Valentino, in the Ferrara ditch, Ponte dei Ladroni, in the Santo Spirito Valley, Ponte del Chianche, in the Ginestar torrent, Ponte Santo Spirito, in the Savaro torrent, Ponte Rado, in the Carapel torrent before arrived to Herdonia, in the Ofanto river near Canossa and the viaduct of Apani near Brindisi. We have to consider, besides, the collocation of the mile columns, to measure miles, along all the route and the commemorative inscriptions on the head of some bridges. These inscriptions underline the importance of the good enterprise and the construction of the road like an event of a big size among the programs of the emperor. The Iki-Herdonia tract doesn't show particular problems of the identification of its route, but it is interesting because of a rich aerotopographic documentation that can't be renounced for the most correct attempt of reconstruction of the route. The first company of reconnaissance along the tract Iki-Herdonia has been started in October 2005 thanks to the availability and contribution of the municipality of Troia, near Foggia, with the participation of the students of the Faculty of Beni Culturali and the School of Specialization of Archaeology of the University of Salento. The activity has been aimed not only at the research but also at the education of the youth in the specific sector of the archaeological topography through the didactics and the practical exercise directly on the field. The Traiana road in the medieval age constituted the principal road axis of the Troia inhabited place and now is a course of the modern town. More than the activity on the ground, a big space has been dedicated to the analysis of the air vertical photography, the fundamental tool for the research and the documentation during the studies of archaeological topography. After Troia, on the territory of Borgo Segezia, the ancient road for a long tract coincided with an axis of the Limitatio attributed to the Ageri Canis until almost the height of the Ponte Albanito farm. On the other hand, the activity of the research of the laboratory connected with the telerized images has not been limited only on the finding of the vertical air photos. The recent cancellation of the Royal Law of 1939, which limited air recoveries, that was happened in December of 2000, is the most important change on our specific field. It has allowed also in Italy the low flights and the aerial oblique shots aimed to the unpublished data acquisition from the territory. In this way, we reach the extensive plain crossed by the river Sabaro, the ancient Cerberus, and Carapel, whose watercourses have shifted over the centuries by several hundred meters. The former is now about 500 meters further north while the latter is about 1,000 meters further southeast. When you overpass the Carapel, the Traiana road entered into Herdonia across the northern entrance. The road axis, one time reached the northern corner of the court of the town, turned to the straight corner to the northeast. Then went out of the northeastern entrance in the direction to Cerignola and then towards Canusium.